Boy, where do I begin with this race? Where do I begin? Oh my goodness. This is the Brickyard 400 race review. It's back. It's been the first time it's brought back the NASCAR Cup Series race on the oval. It's the first time since 2020, and man, it was really interesting. This was one of the races this year I was really so interested in. Like the first time the next gen cars race on the big Indianapolis Oval, 2.5 miles. Especially, I was really looking forward to this race because how the next gen car performs on those kind of tracks is really good. And man, the draft, big part of it. Big part of it. We did definitely see a lot of passing for sure, especially with on the restarts. But yeah, but those final laps were like really challenging with passing with fuel strategy into play, and ultimately you have to choose the right. Ultimately, strategy is what got you the win, pretty much in this race, if you ask me, with how this race has gone. And we'll talk about the winner in a bit, but I gotta get to everything down. Denny Hamlin won stage one, Bubba Wallace won stage two, and I know Bubba Wallace did make some points on that cut line. Hopefully, he can make the playoffs again like he did last year. I hope so. I so want Bubba Wallace to make the playoffs again. Um, so, and as I'm looking at the results, he finished top five. Amazing, amazing day for Bubba Wallace. So, so the first, so stage one was 50 laps long. Tyler Reddick led the majority. He actually led the most laps and ended up finishing second. So 2311 Racing had a great day. As a 2311 fan, I love that. Love to see it. Um, But then it was an interesting. You either have to wait for the first half of stage one, either come down pit road, or have to wait towards the end of stage one to come down pit road. That's what drivers like Denny Hamlin did. I think Blaney was on it. Blaney, he was close to winning this race as well. Tyler Reddick, he had some issues, but NASCAR, I gotta get to NASCAR's officiating because it wasn't the prettiest of days for the officiating side of NASCAR, uh, there's especially with the final laps of this race with with Ryan Preece spinning out, hitting the wall on the inside, and I don't know if NASCAR was just realizing that was I don't know if it's just NASCAR not wanting to not have as much overtimes as they did at Nashville, because I remember Nashville they had like 5 overtimes. I do not want that at all, but oh my goodness. And they just waited until Larson pretty much got in the turn one before they threw it. So that's just how I see it. There was incidents, especially on the restarts. There was one incident where Ryan Preece tried to fit a hole, and Briscoe and Byron they made contact, and William Byron. Did you see how Byron's car rotated so quickly? Like my gosh, I thought he was like a freaking boomerang when he was spinning around. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Kyle Busch, I gotta talk about him. He actually did run up front. He did run inside the top 10, but ultimately he ended up finishing. Where did he finish? I don't know where. He ended up finishing 25th. I thought he DNF'd, but wow. Um, so yeah, drivers like Denny Hamlin, my guy, he was up there for the majority of the day, and just strategy, just it was looking good, but Larson, Reddick, those guys were just charging hard because they were actually pitted more times than what Denny Hamlin and Blaney did, and anyone who's on strategy. Zane Smith as well. Just ultimately, you have to choose the right strategy. It's just I talk about strategy every race. It's going to happen. So it's gotta go for it, and didn't work out in Denny Hamlin's favor. And plus, he ended up getting caught up in that final accident and that final big wreck in turn one that led us to the second overtime. So that sucks. Finishing 32nd. That hurts. So it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. So yeah. We gotta go ahead and say it. Congratulations to Kyle Larson winning the Brickyard 400. This is one. This is a win. Big win for Kyle Larson. Definitely, in my opinion, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, of his career for sure. Um, congrats to Larson once again. For winning the Brickyard 400. Um, Restarts, like I said, were big thing, especially because in the first, I saw a notice in the first stage where no one literally like was pushing it because this was new. Remember, guys, this is the first race on the Indianapolis Oval for the next gen cars, and let me just say that this race was just good. It wasn't the greatest of all time. It really wasn't. It wasn't the greatest, but we saw a big play in the draft. Just yeah. Nothing else I could really say. I mean, the racing was good. We got to see strategy come into play with fuel, mostly fuel. Tires were kind of meh, but fuel, kind of like Pocono last week. Well, definitely not like Pocono last week by any means, but um, fuel strategy just depends on how like what time you pit. Like if you, for example, if you try to put less pit stops, you have to save fuel. If you pitted more times, you have to just like pit multiple times. But drivers like Larson, Reddick, um, those guys, they pitted more, and I gotta talk about a few drivers. Chase Elliott, he did start off this race good. It's just then he had some sort of penalty involving the blend line formation thing. It's because you have to take the access road, and it's just that was just I saw some drivers right. Keselowski had it. Brad Keselowski. If that Kyle Busch caution didn't have come out, he was in a good shape, man. If I am surprised Keselowski was able to hold on that long for fuel. That long. If he would have won this race, this was probably one of the most impressive wins I've seen from Brad. Like, one of the most impressive. So, I'm talking about some notable finishes. Chase Elliott ended up finishing inside the top 10. So, yeah. Chastain, he had a horrible day. Horrible. Absolutely just awful. He was at one point last at one point. And at this point, he does not need to have days like this. He's in a tight points battle. Chris Buescher as well is also in a points battle. I don't know where he finished because he didn't really have the best. Ty Gibbs as well is now starting to get into that point situation. He didn't have a good day either. He had something wrong with his engine or something. He had like an engine problem. Truex, I know we have like 4 races left, but I wouldn't be it's still comfortable, but at some point we gotta build momentum y'all gotta both build momentum for the playoffs. Um, Byron, I know he had that incident. Joey Logano, he was mid, he was like top 10, top 15, and then he got caught up in an incident with Jimmy Johnson. Um, just man, the restarts, most of those cautions for big wrecks were after restarts. So yeah, so those were why most of the cautions were occurred after restarts because in my opinion, that is what happened. That's what happened. The car drivers crash after the restarts, but to those restarts, because like I said, drivers were making three wide aggressiveness. It happens. So trying to go and see like trying to see what um the race recap was because I wasn't sure like well trying to make sure that oh Truex talk about him he in one point hit the wall while racing hard with Larson and just overall just not a good just not a good race for Truex at all whatsoever. And I feel it for you Truex fans because I feel bad for y'all. I mean, oh my goodness. Just hope he can at least have a solid run this season before he retires from full-time racing. So yeah, Denny won stage 2, Bubba Wallace won stage 2, and Kyle Busch, the reason why that final caution came out was where he spun out. He didn't enter he didn't enter turn 3 the best and got into Denny Hamlin and spun out. So, and then we have the first overtime where that big wreck happens involving Nemechek where I don't know, he just cut down on Daniel Hemrick and man, just that man, after that wreck, then Ryan Preece spun out. Apparently, NASCAR didn't throw the caution until when Larson got into turn 1. And Kyle Larson ends up doing it. Tyler Reddick, another top 5 finish in 3 of the last 4 races. Awesome for Reddick. Building up more momentum. Definitely. Just Tyler Reddick, man. This guy has just coming up so close. Just cannot get the job done. Just, my goodness. He's coming up close. Just needs to get it. Just needs a little bit more. But wow. Also, I also didn't mention this. I know this was yesterday, but the Xfinity finish was awesome as well. Yeah, I mentioned that. Congratulations to Riley Herbst on winning that race. But Brickyard 400, it's first time it's been back since the pandemic 2020 when Kevin Harvick, he was your last winner. Um, and don't forget what happened towards the end of this race where Denny Hamlin literally blew a tire with less than 5 to go. Um, yeah, congratulations to Larson. This is a big win. Running with that same paint scheme. He was supposed to race for the Coca-Cola 600 when that Indianapolis 500 got rain delayed and he wasn't able to complete it. So yeah, congratulations to Kyle Larson. Strategy was a strategy as well with fuel. Just congrats to Larson. Congratulations to Kyle Larson. And now we're on a 2-week break, 2 to 3 week break. 2 weeks, but we don't race again for another 3 weeks. Not until before my first day of senior year for me. So, man, guys, that's it for this race review. Congratulations to Kyle Larson for getting the job done. Gets to kiss the bricks, and that's it. So, incidents really wild on restarts, especially with the majority of those cautions, well, crashes to say. Um, yeah, interesting with strategy. In my opinion, this was really, like I said, an interesting race for me to watch. One of the most interesting races I have circled this year. So, yeah, guys, congrats to Larson. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And anyways, this is Preston signing off. Peace out.